Good evening once again, viewers, listeners, wherever you are. We welcome you to our 205th broadcast here in the Issues Room. Today is December 8th, 2023, and we're pushing toward Christmas. And following Christmas, of course, is the New Year. But we want to welcome you because when you join us here in the Issues Room, we're talking about the things that matter to our country, Liberia, the diaspora, and the continent of Africa. Of course, we're here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and on our Issues Room page. We encourage you to share our link right now. Invite others to join us here tonight. We're going to have a good show. I'm telling you, a very good one. And so we encourage you. I'm Volcano Shelton. I'll be joined at some point by my colleagues, Moses Sandy and Alphonso. But in the meantime, we're going to kick off the ball to discuss uh, two important topics, but of course, we're filling some trending issues. Um, of course, as you know, things have been happening over the last 24 hours. And the big sensation now is the sanction placed on Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Koji. And Koji will at some point come up in the topic that we're discussing here tonight, pushing toward the topic that has to do with the former Chief Justice, Madam Gloria Musu Scott, who is currently in the Monrovia Central Prison, allegedly for murdering her daughter Charlo Musu. We'll be discussing with her son, Mr. Nyowo Scott, who has joined us here. He's currently in studio, and he would just want to bring us up to speed on the case, the merits and demerits, what the government doing, um, how far this case is going, and just letting us know what he sees as we go forward, and at the end, whether his mother gonna be set free. We're gonna be looking at that. But of course, four gentlemen representative uh, who are in the House are vying for the 55th uh, uh, for the 55th legislature. They want to be speaker. It's Fonati Koffa, Mussa Bility, Richard Koon, and Thomas Fallah. But from what we see, it looks like Fallah has fallen off the race as a result of endorsing Fonati Koffa. So we'll be discussing those gentlemen. Is it good for our democracy? Do we really want to fight corruption? Looking at Bility and Fonati, the record, global record, the infractions, financial malfeasance, doing jail time, being sanctioned. Are these the people we want to really serve as Speaker, the third powerful man in the country and the first branch of government to head? Does it mean we're really serious about moving our country forward? And we heard that 42 representatives have already signed to cast the ballot for Fonati Koffa. So we're going to have a lot of unpacking to do. But again, we say thank you, Raymond Clark, for joining us here. Please invite others to come here tonight as we now go to our studio guest and bring him in, Mr. Nyowo Scott. It's a pleasure having you. Welcome to the Issues Room. Thank you so much for availing yourself to hold this conversation. But let's just start with telling us a little bit about you, and set the tune so that our audience know exactly who is Nyowo Scott and why you are here tonight.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Volcano, for allowing me to come on your show, The Issues Room. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to speak to the Liberian people. And I'm grateful that you agreed to allow me to tell our side of the story. Lots of nonsense have been out there for so long since we were attacked back earlier this year, and where my family is right now. So thank you. About myself, my name is Nyowo Scott. I am the second child of Gloria Mussa Scott, and that's the former Chief Justice of Liberia, former Senator of Maryland, so on and so on and so on, right? Um, about me, was born early years in Douala, um, lived in Douala, was frequent in the Douala market to Nukutan. And then my early teenage years, I grew up in Sinko, mostly 16th Street, went to J.J. Roberts, but before J.J. Roberts, went to Don Bosco. And then I came over to the United States, uh, went to the university, graduated from a university. I'm in my career, and now we're dealing with this, where it was a sanctioned attack on my mother, and she's since been framed, and we're fighting now for my family's freedom. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the conversation. Bring our audience to speed as to what happened in February, responsible for your mother being incarcerated at this point.
So there are two instances. They sent their assassin two different times to our house. I think the first time we assume it was,
Just mere armed robbers?
just a robber or whichever. The second time was a little bit noticeable because of we knew they had again gotten access to the house. We noticed it, and this time it was serious because we realized a few things were moved around, and it wasn't really anything taken. So my mother, on both occasions, the first time she went to the police and filed a report, and then she went all over the airwaves and made it, known to everyone over the airwaves of what was happening. She tried. We, got security, or at least what we thought were people that we had hired to protect us. In addition to that, also, tried to fortify the house. There were still access points. And on that night of February 22nd, someone had gained access to the house. We believe it was before, everybody locked doors and went to sleep. They had gained access to the house. There are 4 bedrooms on that side. 3 of those bedrooms were occupied. I'm so sorry for that ring. If you can bear with me, let me just shut that off, please.
Okay. So he's explaining the story about, what happened. This is his mother, our former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Gloria Musu Scott, who is currently incarcerated at the Monrovia Central Prison. So we'll go back to Nyowo. He's back. Welcome, Nyowo. And I told to post your mom's picture as you go about.
I'm very sorry to the people who were listening and were interrupted by the call. I thought I had all my phones and cell phones in silence.
Yeah,
so
it's okay.
Back to the story. So the 22nd of February, we were attacked. This was a sanctioned attack. The target was my mother. And we lost our sister, we lost our cousin, we lost a family member, Charlo, in the process. And they've since, the police already were doing interviews and saying who they thought were responsible for the murder of our family member. And their entire months of investigation or whatever nonsense they were doing on their radio station, putting out all type of stupid theories. They finally came to this, whatever their plan was. Their plans were to charge my mother with the murder, even though I believe, and it is in my opinion, that they're well aware who the the attackers are. They are allowing the murderer to keep walking the streets of Liberia when the victims are sitting in prison fighting for their freedoms. I don't know. That's their goal. There's so many. There are so many theories or so many opinion as to why this has happened. It is clear it was targeted at my mother. She is where she is right now because there are people who are part of it who know what happened. They also plan it. There is a mastermind behind it. They're protecting that person. They're protecting the murderer. And my mother is innocent. And we are outperforming them in court, but they're still being unfair. I can tell you for the most recent incident, so the Vying guy, he was in court just last week. There is a phone number that's connecting him to the area. There's a phone number that's connecting him to, unknown to us. We thought we were hiring a security group that was supposed to protect us and not knowing there was some linkage. There is a phone number that's connecting all of those things. Vying came into court and he admitted to being somewhat connected to that phone number, but then he said it was his wife's phone number. I don't know, like the the circumstances or the coincidence as to how his wife somehow is communicating with the security guard on the night the murder happened, or is within the area. But he said that's his wife's number. Our lawyers requested to subpoena his wife and have her come and answer, along with the security guard that is connected to it. It was rejected in court. We are fighting, as we've done this entire case, to escalate to the Supreme Court and bring her there to answer some questions. There's so much more that is coming out. There's so much more they've done to us throughout this whole process. And again, as I go back to the beginning, as I talk to other people who have come to us and said, oh, we heard this happen. We heard this is what happened. We heard that is what happened. We heard this is what happened. Even if you say that's what it is, whatever the theory you can come up with, allow us to defend ourselves and be fair, right? The police came up with their report and they say they have beyond reasonable doubt evidence. Beyond reasonable doubt. If you know what that means is you go, you come down, you turn it upside down, you put fire on there, you chunk it outside of the window, the evidence stands. Why, if you have all of those things, you had to fight to remove the case, take the case from Monrovia. You were trying to take it somewhere in the bush. Why is it? 3 times we requested to do our own investigation and it was rejected. We had to escalate.
So when you said do your own investigation, you mean you wanted to have access to the crime scene,
yes,
and be able to do some stuff?
Yes.
But anyway, let me just make the audience know this is the Vying guy who is alleged to be the one who committed the murder. On both sides, they're saying Madam Scott, and the family is saying that this is the gentleman. But continue. So you want to do your own investigation simultaneously. And so what is holding that up?
So I want to kind of also directly address the comment just now. So we haven't reached that point yet, right? If people who know my mother knows how she works, and she has a pulse on this thing. So the Vying man, as far as the allegations, it didn't come from us. It came from someone who,
yeah. I mean,
who went live.
Yeah,
no, you're saying the family, but I'm
okay.
trying to get to how the family now is pointed at this, because along with the evidence that was turned in, right, the police report of the communication they had with Mr. Tele, who it was on another, online media radio station that someone said this person was involved. Those individuals reported to the police station and the police interviewed them. The police collected information from them. The police collected their phone numbers. The police collected their addresses. The police collected information from them and said, we interviewed them, and for this reason, we let them go. Well, that was part of the evidence. All we simply did was we ran a log. We requested a call log on those numbers. And there are a few things and there are a few connections that are coming and they're linked to what's happened. Those numbers, there's a link to that, to the vicinity of the house of the time that the murder happened, right? So we want to get to the bottom of it. And before we can make our allegations and say who's responsible, all of them come into court. We want you to answer as to why, if you have no idea and you had no connection to this murder, to this attack on my mother, then there's no way, no how you should have been around our house. There is no way, no how you should have been calling the person that we hired and thought that was a security to protect us. Why are you communicating with them? I mean, it's just like the coincidence is just crazy right now, right? Mm-hmm. And this is this person, and this is what the linkage is coming from, and that's what we're after. So, Big Brother Volcano, we are getting there. But at this point, we're still, just pursuing some sources before we make any allegations. So right now, we just want to talk to these people. Come to court, my man. You say, man, come to court. Let's talk. All this nonsense they've been doing on radio and all over the place, we've stayed quiet and we've been getting ready for this situation.
So, Mr. Scott, who are some of the witnesses now that the government has put forth?
From the very beginning, the same person who the linkages to him was one of their first witnesses to say the security guard was a witness. And his testimony was just, we pretty much were tearing him apart. The prosecuting team had to, object and request that the case be stopped at the moment, the very first day. And this is all public records. Anybody can go to court and get this information. Requested that they stop immediately. They needed to talk to their witness and they wanted to start the case back up the next day. Surprisingly to us, the judge allowed it. So we said, fine, I mean, you will come back tomorrow. We'll come at you again. His testimony was so way off. Some of the things he was saying didn't make sense. It's as if he said he had a X-ray vision. He could see through pavement. From the place he was standing, somehow he was able to get around the corner view and all that stuff. I mean, it's just, but I want to go back on this one person. This person, when we reached out to the security company, at this time, my mom is all over the radio, right? And saying, I think someone is targeting me. So we reached out to them, not knowing, right? They're in Sinkal, they're next to another alleged mastermind person's area. Who knows, right? We just believe that, as any citizen of the country, we can go and try to pay someone to help protect my mother. Hopefully what we assume, and when it got serious, we started to think, I think this is beyond just some robber trying to steal stuff. So this person that was assigned to our house was hired 3 days before as a security that was assigned to our house. We didn't know that, right? But from all the evidence and their testimony and investigation, some things are starting to come out to where, at least for me, my opinion is that person was compromised or was probably placed there to assist in the attack. And that's where now the linkage between this individual and this phone number that Mr. Taylor is in court and say, yes, that's a number that I'm familiar with, but it's not my number, it's my wife's number. I wonder why was his wife in the area? Well, why was she communicating with this man?
So who are the witnesses? I heard the police director has
the police director came. It was just I think the previous week as well, and did his testimony. It's sad that these are the people that went and say their whole thing is to serve and protect the Liberian people. They just think this whole thing is a joke. Like they have so much disrespect for the position that they hold, right? Like people like us, citizens of the country, trusted them to take care of us, right? His job is to serve and protect. You want to know this man's response to the question, as to, did Gloria Scott come to you and then complain? He said, yes, she did, but she didn't follow up. And because she didn't follow up, it was her fault. Are you telling me, Mr. Director, a citizen of the country comes to you and say, my life is at risk?
Not just a citizen, but a high-profile citizen.
I know, but I like to also say, even, with all what she's done for the country,
No, no, no.
Any
I'm
Liberian.
trying to be honest here,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Scott. The
Yes,
mother
sir.
is a high-profile citizen. She served as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, a sitting senator, many other positions she held, even a professor of law. So she's not an ordinary woman. And it comes by right by virtue of her past positions, there must be some degree of, how do I put it, urgency,
I would
some
think
degree
so.
of immediacy when
I
this
would think
person
so.
comes to you. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. It's not
Thank
like
you.
her citizenship is higher than every citizen, but equally, she
Yes, sir.
served her country and she's a
Yes, sir.
stateswoman. You will call Gloria Musu Scott a stateswoman, just like we
Yes.
refer to President-elect Joe Biden.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And she went and complained, just followed the process as she knows we all Liberian citizens know how to, right? That's why the police station is there. That's why they are there. That's their act, that's their job, like is to serve and protect all citizens, including my mother. And then he sits in court and says, well, why did she not follow up? If she came and report, why did she not follow up? My man. I mean, it's just I don't know the words that I want to use. You know, I'm reserved and for respect
Let's come to your mother's
for
condition
watching.
right now. She's at the Monrovia Central Prison, I believe, with two other women or three. How many other?
Three
Three
other
other
family
women.
members.
Okay,
I
so
have a grand aunt who's over
okay,
80 years old.
wow.
Um, we have a younger cousin, right, who just graduated from high school. The same process, the same thing my mother did to for Charlo. That she got Charlo from Maryland 4 or 5 years old, brought her to the city of Monrovia. Charlo wasn't, I mean, she was speaking English, yes, but it was mixed with gribble and all of that, right? Taught her how to read, sat her on her lap, how to read, write, construct sentences, how to write a paragraph, walk her through all of those things, showed her how to use a computer. All of these things to where Charlo was as far as a college graduate at that point. It was a celebration for us all because my mother have done this so many times with so many family members. And now they're all over the world. All over the world, she was doing the same thing again for Charlo. So it is my mother and it's AC, my younger cousin, so Charlo was graduating, AC was right after her. It's the same process. Brought them into the house, gave them an opportunity and a better life so that they can go out and represent their communities. AC was about to graduate from high school. Graduating from high school, the police thinks that's she's also one, right? All the theories that are out there, they were fighting with knife. I mean, all this stuff. I mean, come on. I think when you look at all these theories and you listen to the radio station, most Liberians, it was clear to them who's responsible for that attack because they use so much of the country's resources to really drive in this narrative and so many theories they threw out there. But let me finish the question. My mother, my younger cousin AC, my grand aunt, Rebecca, she's over 80 years old. When she climbs the stairs, she puts her hand down and climbs the stairs. And then I have another older auntie that is in there as well. So 4 of them. Those are the people with loving and care that they've done for so many other people, including myself, helped raise me. I grew up in the house of so many people, and I saw all of them as my brothers and sisters, even though it is my younger sister, myself as the middle child, and my older brother. But our family is huge, and that's what my mom, she will go out there and bring them in and give them an opportunity to change their lives, but not that, but also influence and have a positive influence on the country. Those are the people that somehow we've never had any situation of any violence. Is saying, oh yeah, it is so, for me, I think it's black and white. The country knows who's responsible, right? And we're using data and facts to prove that. But they've been all along the way been interfering with this. And it's unfair. That's why I wanted to let the Liberian people know. The lead lawyer, Councilor Nienti, multiple times after the case was done for the day, right? The judge said, we'll come back tomorrow or we'll come back on Monday. We'll go overnight to the jurors and interact with them. what I assume would threaten them, would bribe them, and all of that. He did that multiple times until finally somebody got just tired of it. Somebody got tired of it, one of the guards, and they reported him. And then we launched this investigation. He admitted to going there and said, yes, I went there, but I didn't talk to the jurors. I just spoke to the security guard. Man, nobody's stupid yet, man. Why you have to do all of those things if you have beyond reasonable doubt evidence? All of the theories you floated out there. What are you doing?
Okay.
What are you doing?
Let me bring my colleague in. He's back in studio. Moses, welcome to the conversation. I'm sure you're following. Just go straight. If you got a question, just nail it. Everyone knows who Moses Sandy is. Let us not do the formal introduction. Let's just shoot right away.
Yeah. Let me say welcome to you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I really sympathize with you and your family for the loss of your sister. You know, as a dad, it breaks my heart. You know, when a family loses a very young, promising person under such a condition, I wish the family well during this difficult moment.
Thank you,
and justice will prevail.
Thank you, sir.
Justice will surely do.
We believe that, sir.
So I know you guys been discussing, and let me start on this. How do you react to this action by the U.S. Government imposing sanction on one of the individuals reportedly linked to the death of your sister, Jefferson Koji? The imposition of sanction as a result of human rights abuse. How do you react as a family that is grieving and your sister's death allegedly linked to someone who is an associate of Mr. Koji? And in fact, the court cited Mr. Koji himself to appear. So, as a family hearing such a story, how do you react?
So, I think there are multiple layers to my reaction, and I want to, first thing first is to say, it's against him and the U.S. government, right? I know that, or at least I assume that the U.S. government just doesn't just target anybody for no reason. So I'm sure they have their reasons as to why. My reaction as any Liberian, and I will hope across the board, doesn't matter the administration, if you're in a leadership role and some of those things start, the charges that they allege that he's done and he's doing or he's involved in, I would say, nobody who's in a leadership role should take advantage of their position, of the country's resources, and that includes the monetary resources and the youth. That's me being, a diplomat to the reacting to that. I want to come back to, because for me, I believe that's against him and the U.S. government. But I want to talk about what you also said about him being called to court. And this is not bragging, right? I just want to really just simplify some things.
And just before you do that, let me post Charlene's picture so our audience can see who the young woman we're talking about here, the deceased young woman.
Yes.
And I know for every time you see this picture,
it's a trauma.
Yeah. But we still have to do it so that at least the audience can see who Charlene is, and accordingly, this is the murder weapon that was found at the scene. As what was used. Apparently, these are blood stains. Murder weapon. But go ahead, Mr. Scott.
I don't know what that photo was taken from, but it's going to be interesting when we start coming with our facts Science, there's no lying in science. You can't make stuff up. You can't plant evidence. You can't, well, let me just go back and address the Koji thing from where
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question that was asked by Mr. Sandy. My apologies for going a
yeah.
little
No
bit off
problem.
track.
Yeah,
So as I mentioned, whatever came out today, that's between he and the U.S. government. But as far as he relates to us, again, it is not bragging. It's just I just want to have people understand that we've sat back and we strategized for all of those months that they were targeting us, that they were harassing my mother, harassing my family on their radio station, and every day pulling them to the police station and asking all type of questions, just doing all type of things, just a whole nother form of torture. That's what they've done, right? And we've sat back, we've recorded their radio stations when they violated our rights, right? Because there are certain things that if you claim you have proof and have facts, and there are certain radio personalities that are saying, and I can prove this in court. If we go to court, my man, your day coming too. We'll see you in court. Bring all your proof, my man. I promise you your day coming. We already got that one there. That's part of the strategy that's set down waiting for you. So when we finish with this one, you will be up next. So I hope you read it. I digress. I want to come back and address this stuff with Mr. Koji. Mr. Koji. So here's the part that I say I'm not bragging, right? The strategy and how strategic that was. The judge did not say Koji come to court. The judge said Koji should provide the living body of Tele. But I saw that Koji posted, right? I saw that Koji posted and said he's been vindicated. My man, who charged you? Who accused you of anything? Where's the vindication coming from? But I can assure the Liberian people that he will go to court. And then he also said in that posting that who's ever responsible for Charlo's death would not get sleep. I agree. Who's ever responsible for Charlo's death would not get sleep. We agree. In fact, we will lick it. They will not get sleep. So I'm saying this and say this now. The judge ruling was Koji should provide the living body of Tele because we subpoena Tele. When we're ready for him, we'll come for him too. You will sit down in court, you will answer a question. And all of those linkage and everything else that we have that is coming and more is coming out, the Liberian people will get to see. You'll have months of this nonsense of floating out all type of theories and everything. I mean, some of it is just like, okay, when we received the evidence, it was like, well, what about the other one the minute said that were happening in the house? What about the other one the minute said that were happening in the house? The evidence they turn in, it's just like, my man, that's your beyond reasonable doubt evidence.
Where's the house at? Is it in
It's in Broadville.
Oh, so where this incident took place is Broadville.
Yeah, it's in Broadville. So there also too, which I believe as well. You know, there's another story out that, you know, my mother, her practice is in Sinko. So at the end of the day, she goes home, right? But she goes home with all her documents, computers, and groceries and everything else. Excuse me. You know, there's a story out there that they had tailed my mother throughout the night to where even when we stopped or she stopped to get some fuel for the car, there were conversations saying, well, why don't we just ram the car right here? You know, why don't we just do it right here? Again, you know, those are theories, right? I guess it goes both ways. So yeah, she drove home, and when she got home, the car, Charlo was at the house at the time. The door is open. Who would think after what she's done for this country that she's being targeted by individuals for whichever reason, right? For whichever reason. I mean, we can all speculate. I can tell you from me, what I think, in my opinion, is her refusal to work with this administration. That's all I think it is. Her refusal to work with this administration. Multiple times before they even ran for election, they asked her to run as a vice president. She refused. They came at her and asked her to run as a vice president multiple times. She refused. She didn't want to be a part of it. As a matter of fact, she said, I'm loyal to my party. That's the UP party, right? Is this thing about this tribal connection because most of their people are from the Southeast, right? They're standard bearers from the Southeast. And my mother never had anything against them. She just says, I don't want to work with them. That's it. And that's all. And I think as a Liberian, it doesn't matter how much you want this person to be a part of your team, be a part of your administration. Leave them alone. If she just wants to go about her private life, study and practice her law, right? Be a consultant and do what she's doing and support whatever party she's supporting. Why does this have to be an issue? Anyhow.
So that's the aunt right here, the ADL you're talking about.
Okay. Yes. Imagine a lady like that. You charge with murder. She will harm a person. Charlo that came to our house from baby, 4 or 5 years old. My mother took from Maryland. She took her and brought her in the house, gave her a different life, taught her how to read and write and speak for herself. She graduated from high school. She attended college. She was graduating from college. And these barbaric doers send their assassin into the house, targeting my mother, killed my sister.
How's the prison condition now with your mom? What is it like being at the Monrovia Central Prison?
Prison is prison. It's not somewhere people want to go for a vacation. She's making the most of it. One thing that I know of my mother, she raised us all, including Charlo. And again, facts will show. There was an encounter with that assassin in Charlo. Science has proof of that as well. Facts will show. She's a mentally strong human. Forget even her being a woman, the mentalness. I just admire from her. When I speak to her, when I hear her voice, when I hear how she has a pulse on this and she's making these moves and working with the lawyers and all of that, I say she's solid. But the jail is a place that nobody should be, especially if they're innocent. So the condition is not a condition that is bad. We would just say that. There's nothing to celebrate. But she's solid in there. And we're grateful to all the people that are there, the guards and everyone involved. This is a process that we're going through. We hate this process, but this is something that, it's not, when you look at the charges and even when you're looking at the court document, it says Gloria Mussa Scott versus the Republic of Liberia. Wow. Somebody who's done so much for the country and just given it all. I would share with you all some personal things. Sometime I would call my mother and say, why do you involve yourself in some things? You've done your part. Let it go. Just let it. You don't always have to be the savior. You don't always have to represent. And my mother always said to me, this is what I have for my people, because if I don't do it, who will do it? At times I would say, do you really love the country more than you love us? Because I can tell you honestly, years ago, mother, leave this whole thing. It's not worth it. Right? To sit in there and see that is Gloria Mussa Scott versus the Republic of Liberia, and see that they are using all of the country's resources, right? They're spending as much money to bribe, to harass, to threaten, to influence, to do all of these things for this one lady. But all she's ever done was stand up for what's right, and for the people of the Republic of Liberia, for the people of Maryland. She helped rewrite the Constitution of the country so that it was fair all across. Doesn't matter what tribe you're from or how you're a miracle Liberian that came to the country. It was going to be fair for everybody across the board. Rewrote the Constitution. I mean, should I sit here and go through everything that she's done for the country? We don't have enough time. But that is the person now that is sitting in jail fighting for her freedom. The jurors, from my opinion, they've been compromised by the counselor who's been out there the leading prosecutor multiple times at nighttime. Why are you interacting with the people? Isn't that law 101? And if you have beyond reasonable doubt evidence, why are you going over there, Counselor Nyanti? So now the judge did an investigation, and guess what was happening? What was the conclusion? Suspending him from the case, fine him $200 US dollars, and refuse to reselect the jurors. Said we will keep these jurors on the case. Yes, why?
Let's talk about the forensic. Moses, you're coming quick. What are some of the findings in the forensic? Did you guys bring your own forensic expert, or is just the Liberian government's forensic person that is handling most of the forensics, meaning the evidence to present during the trial? And is it credible enough on the government side? And if you were to bring your own personal, forensic experts, what are they seeing? Is there a comparability or there's a disparity in the findings?
Excuse me. Let me just start off by saying that one person before, and I say that one person is the government's pathologist. It's from one Liberian to another, I'm not, I can't say how I really think of the work he did, because it was poor. But again, for me, it's one thing, right, to say, was it poor? Or he just doesn't have the skill, doesn't have the expertise. That's a fact. Like the autopsy that he conducted, he doesn't have the expertise for it, and it showed. Also, the investigation, right, with all of the resources, it took them months to do the swab. They collected DNA sample. They collected fingerprints from my family. They did all of these things, and they sit on the stand and say their finding is it was a woman chromosome. They can't tell the exact individual. All they know was a woman chromosome. It was only women in the house. My man, with all your experience, DNA is specific to a certain person. A fingerprint is specific to a certain person. But if you are such an expert, if you listen to that radio station, you thought this man wrote the book in how to be a pathologist, and he sits on the stand and say, I mean, that woman chromosome, that all I can say, that was in the house. No proof. Ayaka, yes. After fighting tooth and nail to get access to our own house, since we were attacked, they seized the house. I just also want to add that the house is supposed to be protected, but it's since been looted. Who now? I thought the police and they're keeping us from the house, but somehow people are able to get access to the house and loot our house. But I digress from that and come back to what the question you asked. We were able, 3 times we asked to get access to do our own investigation. It was denied. It was denied. It was denied. We escalated to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court made them, like, my man, how are we supposed to defend ourselves when we cannot do our own investigation? Finally, we were allowed to, but under certain conditions. They must meet this condition. They must meet that. Yes, we have our team, forensic scientist from the UK, a pathologist from the US, over 40 years of experience, was also one of the person on the O.J. Simpson case and a whole lot of other high-profile cases, was part of our team, came on site, and we did our own investigation. Qualified investigation, high-level lab, DNA analysis and lab. We have ours. I won't share. I want Liberian people to go to court. It's free. You can walk in, you can sit down, and you can listen. Everything I'm telling you, Liberia, if you want to know what's going on, go to court. Next week, go to court. It's coming. Go to court.
What are the court days? What are the court days?
Fridays. We'll start on Monday. We'll go through Friday. Go to court. We're coming down to the bottom of this thing. We're innocent. We can prove that we're innocent. The people who charge us know that we're innocent. They have a murderer walking the streets and putting so many Liberians' lives at risk right now because this man has been on the street, a woman or whoever you are, and even the mastermind behind this are walking freely, laughing and thinking it's funny.
Moses?
Yeah, I mean, he has spoken a lot. I was wondering, Mr. Scott, if you could just help us understand why you think your mom was so targeted? Uh, is there any reason why?
I have my own opinions, and there's few things that we floated and some information we received.
Yeah.
Um, the cell phone company thing. The story behind the cell phone company that my mother was working on. One station was jamming the frequency to another station. One station was closely related to the current administration. The other station was just trying to do business in the country. The other station sued this one station that is closely related and have some people in their pockets, and they were playing unfair. So they sued them in an international court. My mother chose to represent the station that was being jammed and their frequency. My mother, along with the other colleagues, won the case. I think that's where, for me, my opinion, that's where they drew the line. And when she came back, because that's what happened. When she returned to the country, our trouble started. But before that, my mother also a strong and close advisor to the current president-elect, Joseph Boyka.
Okay.
Close advisor to him, has represented the party and then the party's lawyer in multiple cases. I mean, I'm sure you guys are aware of the whole CPP thing. And when they broke away, they were sued that they could not break away. And because documents are being, all the technicalities of it. But if she would not have stood up and fought for the possibility that the UP could stand for themselves and have Boyka the standard bearer, and they would have went to court and it would have forced them to stay with CPP. Today, we're not saying President Boyka elect. So for me, again, she was successful in that as well. There was another time before this, right, where the current administration tried to illegally remove a judge. And they wanted her on their side, representing them. She refused. She told them she wasn't interested. They put her name on their list. She had to call them. She said, "Take my name off. I'm not on your team." I think that was also one of those things.
Hey man, the judge decided to force the Omar on the
They
team.
put her name on there because
they want to play for them.
Yeah. Because I mean, seriously, like the men in call, the Omar said, because of course she was the professor at law. She taught most of those lawyers. So they call her and most of them, she know them. So Omar, we want you to be on the case. I don't want to be on the case. Omar, there's plenty of money on this thing. Thank you. I've got my own practice. Omar, multiple people called. I don't want to be on the case. I don't believe in that. They still put her name on it. You had to go public and say, I am not involved with that case. There are other circumstances, other times that she was invited to the presidential speech to the nation. She chose not to go multiple times. She said, I'm not going. You know,
the State of the Union address. The State of the
Union address. There are invitations to certain individuals to come there and be, and support the republic, right? The president is speaking about, what's most important at the time. She chose not to go, right? I can tell you, I can share this with you. I've had conversations with her. Mommy, why just go? Why you don't want to go? She said, she said she's been there before. It's so unorganized. And it's just not even with the current administration. Previous administration, she gets there, she's invited as one of the high-level guests, then they got to look for chairs and everything. She's not going to stand around. She's not going to show up to that place that is unorganized, and then her statute, she's disrespected, so she chose to stay away. And also, her party is the UP party. My mother just decided, I am not going to be a part of that thing, and I just want to stay on this side. I think as a Liberian person, everybody have to write who they should support and who they should not support. Absolutely. My mother just chose not to be with this administration. That was it. I think that's the reason why she was attacked. Because every turn along the way, they will butter with Gloria Mussa Scott, and they will have problems if it comes to court.
So what do you think going to happen now that with everything has changed? We have a president-elect, the new government is coming. Of course, President Boyka-elect doesn't have the influence over the law. The law still has to take its course. But with some of the gathering of what you said, the evidence, the forensics, and all of that, do you see your mother being set free, and the
Yes,
other co-conspirators as they alleged?
I believe in
Why
the
are you
justice system.
optimistic?
I believe in the justice system of the Republic of Liberia. We grew up to it. My mother, she's participating in this thing. Since I've known myself, my mother's been involved. We believe in the justice system. Along with all of the tampering, all of the compromise, people, so many people have been compromised because we're innocent. And those are humans that are sitting on the other side as jurors, regardless of what has been done and what communication, what I even think has happened. Those are humans and they're listening to the truth. And the truth is what it is. The truth will set us free. The truth is there. It doesn't matter how much smoke screens they put up, how they try to muddy the water. We believe we will go through this process. We trust the process. We believe in the Republic of Liberia. We believe in the justice system. And for that reason, because we're innocent, my family will walk free, innocent and victorious. And we believe that. But I will also say this. There's also the Supreme Court as well. We're in for this fight, and we will fight this to every last bit that we have. We're a peaceful family, but I can tell you one thing. Gloria Mussa Scott raised all of us in that house that we don't bother nobody. But when somebody bother us, they'll regret the day they done that. And that's what we're doing. We're all in, and we're fighting this to the last day because we're innocent. We're innocent. It was a sanctioned attack, and the targeted person, they didn't get to her. In the process, they killed our sister. I will say this though, just like the mayor said, who's ever responsible for the death of my sister Charlo Musu Scott will not get no sleep. Those words, they can't be truer. You will not get sleep. Whoever you are walking the face of this earth, you will not get sleep, my man. I tell you that right now. Or my woman, whoever.
I heard you say that you trust the criminal justice system in Liberia. And I also heard you complain about jury, temporary by a prominent government lawyer. So if you have people in the criminal justice system, and I'm sure your family is also concerned about uh, the role of the police in the whole process, which indicates that you guys are not pleased with how the evidence or the police probe into the matter was conducted. So, with all these flaws that you have spoken about, how then do you trust such a system?
Yes, I will explain. So that's why we have separation, right? We have the executive branch, we have the judiciary branch, and then we have the people who call themselves police officers and investigators, right?
Mhm.
So that branch of policing and investigation, yeah, there is a concern and they've been unfair. But now the justice system, the judiciary, right? We trust that part because that's where the decision is made, right? They came, they won, they did all of their thing. They came with their bogus evidence and say we're charging. Now it's on to the next, right? This process where we are in court, getting the chance, or however limited way we get to defend ourselves, we trust this process. And that's what I meant by that.
Okay.
Quick question here: Where's Charlo Musu's body? Has it been buried? Are they
It's
still
at St.
keeping it?
Moses. They are holding the body from us. When our investigator came into the country, you know, the owner of St. Moses said, nobody touching this body. I didn't get nobody tell me you were coming. Nobody coming in this place to do anything. And this is how after the judge had ordered that, yes, we can do our own autopsy of the body.
Mm.
We had to go through this for half a day, back and forth. I'm talking about screaming matches and threatening and all this stuff. Finally, we get some document delivered. He said, okay, you can see the body. And then Mr. Pathologist, unqualified pathologist representing the government comes in and says, well, you can't see the body because it's frozen. And it would take 2 weeks to thaw out. My man, you serious? But the thing is, he thought he was playing with just a small family and people that we brought in, qualified people that even if the body was frozen and it came from Alaska or came from the North Pole, they can still do their operation. So the group said, all right, fine, we can still do our operation with a frozen stiff body. Bring the body. Finally, when they brought the body out, it was a miracle. It wasn't even frozen. Wow. Body wasn't even frozen.
So they were just giving excuses.
All along the way, they've interfered. It's been so unfair. They've not allowed us access to our house. We had to fight in court. One of our lawyers got held in contempt just to let our people do their thing, because they were saying all along the way, just fighting us, everything. I mean, this is a group of people, the part of the government that said they have beyond reasonable doubt evidence. I can tell you one thing. If Gloria Mussa Scott had beyond reasonable doubt evidence, if she was the prosecuting lawyer, she would go to sleep. Y'all can go bring whoever from wherever place who is as qualified as whoever you think it is. That the evidence that is true, that you say is beyond reasonable doubt, is what it is. It doesn't matter. Why do they have to do all of this? Why do you want to pull the case out of Monrovia? Why do you want to do all of these things? Why you want to interfere with every step?
Where were they intending to take the case?
Somewhere, I think it was in Bopolu or somewhere, some random place.
Venue, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Random place. And what was their excuse? Oh, she has influence in Monrovia. My man, you serious? Your radio station that y'all were on for 24 hours a day, because they had there's no excuse for their stupid theories they were bringing about. One of them, all type of stupid theories. Oh, that boyo, that woman, that she into boyo, that woman do this, the woman do that. My man, bring your evidence. You've brought your evidence. You said you can prove it. And now the radio personality, my man, I keep reminding you, once we get done and it's proven that we're innocent, once we get through that part, we're coming for you too. You said you can prove it in court, right? You said you have everything to prove in court that you said about my mother and my family.
So some journalists were taking side too.
Just like this radio station right here. The man was talking all over. I'm not going to name names or whatever.
Yeah, but
talking like as if he had all the evidence. Good.
But look,
bring your evidence,
Scott, not to cut you off, since we're discussing this, Volcano, to see a broadcast from Freedom FM parading with a group of people claiming that they wanted justice. Is that the role of a journalist?
I guess maybe.
And they said they went to the Justice Ministry, right? They said they wanted justice for the late Charlo. I mean, it beats my imagination. I'm not in any way saying that what happened is the work of the government or is the work of this other president. But I think they just made the death of your sister so political. And I was wondering, why is it that the government did not even allow you or gave your family the freedom that, hey, look, we want you to bring your own, pathologist from wherever. We will pay for it because they want to make this thing here so transparent. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, why did they give you guys that opportunity?
Even in court, that last argument, when finally the judge says, after he had ruled against us twice, that we were not going to be allowed to defend ourselves, right? Or he said the reason was it was too early. Too early, my man. It took him 5 months or even beyond that, ruining up my mother's name. And then you say, oh, it's too early for us to do our own investigation. The lawyer was walking around the court beating his chest, and we are not paying for it. Who asked you to pay for it, my man? Nobody asking you to pay for it. Give us access. We want to do our own investigation because we don't trust you. We don't trust what you've done. You haven't been fair. Your job is to go and get the evidence and show proof of the evidence. They have some bogus presentation and on their radio and show like, oh, beyond, this is the reason why they charge, and some stupid PowerPoint thing with some stupid diagram 3D thing. Imagine if you had all of those things. Why were you interfering? You know what they did? Our pathologists, the things they put them through. They have to sit in front of the Liberian Medical and Dental Council and be interviewed about their credentials. They should answer questions and all of that. This is somebody who over 40 years, but you know what? We did all of those things. We show all of our credentials of the entire team. It was as thick as a dictionary, The person y'all had to do they had to do your autopsy. Can't even smell the hem on the man's clothes that actually did the autopsy. He was actually there asking the man, Papa, you think I can get some training from you? Sweating because
Really?
you know what we were. Oh, yeah, the man begged the man. Yeah, I want training from you. Where you gonna be training next? I will come there. You think we on some foolish business here when y'all coming and going after a state's woman? You serious? Oh, y'all. You know, one thing I would say throughout this whole process, weeks ago, I saw the Liberian people stand up for what was right. And they voted. Now, keep in mind, right? I've been a long fan supporter of President Weah because I'm a football player and I follow him all along and everything else. But when it came down to it, and it was clear that, there was a need for a change, Liberian people stood up with all of the threats and everything at risk and selected what they thought, right, where there should be a change. I mean, it just like I just sat back and say, wow, look at our people. They think Liberian people are stupid. They think we don't know what's going on. They even themselves, they're shocked. Liberian people, we're not stupid. We're one of the best country. We are the best country in that continent. We're coming back and we will show the world who we are. And this is part of it. We're setting the standards across the west coast of Africa and across Africa, the continent. This is how we do it. We remove you. If you go there and you take advantage of our resources and you put people at risk, you don't protect your citizens and all of those things. Liberia, we stood up and we send a message. So again, as a supporter of the president, it was bittersweet, but it was also, it was just also relieving to see that the Liberian people stand for something, which I always know we do.
Thank you. If you just joined us, welcome to the Issues Room here. We are discussing the situation with our former Chief Justice, Madam Gloria Mussa Scott, who is currently incarcerated at the Monrovia Central Prison with 3 of her relatives, all females, on murder charges for her daughter, Charlo Musu. Her son is here, Mr. Nyowo Scott, who is bringing up to speed on the case. We'd like to encourage all of you, our viewers out there tonight, to share the link. Join us here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on our Issues Room page. We say thank you so much for being our avid viewers and listeners, and continue to love us, like us, and follow us, Volcano, Moses, and our guest, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott will spend another 10 minutes with you to bring this interview to a close, because we have a second segment that we're going to. Moses.
Yeah. Mr. Scott, first, again, I'll tell you thank you for mustering the courage, because this is a real difficult moment for you and your family. But one thing I admire you for is the way you're shifting. You're shifting between the Liberian accent and then the Western accent. So I said, okay, he knows how to communicate well. You talk to your people, then you say, no, I have to go Western. Let me say thank you for that. You're doing a real great job here tonight, telling the story of your mom. So the court hearing scheduled for next week, is that the final phase of the legal process?
I'm not sure if next week would be the final phase, but we're around that time. Yes. Okay. And if anyone is interested, I would say, please, the press, if you're watching this, go to court now. Now is the time. They've been playing all these games, and it's come down to it.
Let me ask this question quick. Your mother served as lawyer for the Unity Party. Has there been any involvement with the Unity Party in support of her being a member of the party?
I will say we've, received support. At times when, because while they were doing the investigation, they have police guard following my mother everywhere, as if she was some criminal. But in addition to that, the Unity Party supporters and guys will come and be that additional guards for us. So they volunteered, and we're so grateful to them. They've supported us all along the way. I think that's as much as it's been. And as you know, when she first was, in prison, while we're going through the trial, before the election, Joseph Boyka visited her, I think once or twice. So, someone might ask, well, are we looking for pardon? I think pardon are only for people that are guilty. We don't think we're guilty. My mother is innocent. My family is innocent. And we are proving that we're innocent, regardless of all the challenges we've faced along the way. So sorry that I'm taking it another length, but yes, we have had support and we're grateful. But I think it's across the board, not just the Unity Party. There are even people in the CDC party that reaches out and say they know what's happening. They are sorry about it. They have jobs that they have to protect because they need to feed their family. Some of them are just feared for their own safety and their life for speaking up and saying they're with us. But quietly, they're reaching out and apologizing.
So one important question here, feeding. We know, and it could be a myth, but we know that at the Monrovia Central Prison, sometimes your family got to bring your food, because we see Jetty going around where he lived, feeding mission. I hope your old man is not eating some of that food from Jetty. So how is feeding? I just thought to throw this in as a humor, but how is feeding?
We're grateful. I mean, we're grateful that there are some things that I don't want to share, but she's good. As every human, right, you need nutrients. So, but yeah, we're grateful for everything.
But it's allowed that your family could send her food every day. I'm just because
yes, it's allowed.
Okay.
Yes, it's allowed.
Okay. What's this?
So, when was the last time you had the opportunity of seeing your mom? And when you saw your mom, how did you react?
The last time, I don't know if some people can remember, I was, that's when I was on the grounds of.
I saw your interview at the police station.
Yeah, at the police station, because I was actually in there. We walked in. Oh my God! Listen, this country, as a Liberian, I'm so proud to be a Liberian. You guys, you don't even understand. Yes, I've traveled the world because of my profession and represented people, worked with people from all different places. But Liberia is where my heart is. It was so hurtful walking with my mother in the police station and how we were being treated. My man, pass the way, man. Y'all go sit down over there. Y'all think you're the one. I said, wow. Looking at some of these people.
And you're not even guilty yet. Already made it seem like
nothing. Can you imagine just allegation? They're treating the man like a criminal already. Yeah.
We sat down. Who the two people? These are my. Y'all get outside the room, man. Y'all go. Y'all part of that thing, yeah? I mean, it's just, I was just looking at them. You're gonna look at me anyway. You want to look at me, Biggie? I said, okay. And that's how that treatment. You tell her to get outside the room. Go outside of the building. I mean, what is all of that about? So to answer your question, that was the last time I saw my mother, and she looked at me and she said, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. I kissed her on the forehead. I gave her a hug. I said, Mommy, we in this fight together. She said, my son, I know, but they don't know what family they're playing with. God be the glory. That was the last time I seen my mother.
What's your last word for us before you go?
Liberia, I just want to say thank you for all of your support on both sides. Even with the current administration, there are people that have reached out to us and say, we know, and we're sorry. So we thank you for all of your support. We thank you for standing with us along the way. But I just ask now that you all pay attention, because it's coming down to the place to where those individuals that are the jurors gets to decide the fate of my family, their freedom, very soon. Please pay attention. We're innocent and we trust in the justice system. We're proving that we're innocent, but we want you to pay attention. There are a few things that are coming out. For example, I don't know how many people know there has been a linkage of a phone number that is linked to Mr. Teller, even though he said that's his wife's phone. Somehow his wife is communicating with the security person that night that they think is happening or is in the area. But that's another story. We'll let the facts prove what's actually going on. There's so much that are happening right now, and this coming week is crucial. It's crucial. Please pay attention. We are proving to the world, to the Liberian people, that we're innocent. They've treated us unfairly, but we're still standing up to them. Thank you so much for your support, Liberia. B. Brother Volcano, thank you so much for letting me on your show. Mr. Sandy, thank you so much.
Welcome.
I appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. And once again, let me say,
okay, we'll bring you back here once.
Yeah.
We'll, how things are trending, so we can always. We don't know if this case is going to end before the sitting of the new government, and, so it could be a delay. But thank you so much for your candidness here tonight. We appreciate you coming. I know you. I saw a flyer. You're going to be on Queen Abib on Sunday, right?
Yes, on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm also talking with other station. I was just on Spoon and communicating with a few of them to go on the show as well. I'm just, again, imagine this, right? This is, in a way, support from the Liberian people, allowing us to tell our story. Because in the beginning, all they were doing was just poisoning and ruining my mother's reputation. And all she's ever done was giving back to this country. So thank you. I'm thankful to you and all the other radio stations that said, come on, tell your side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was indeed a pleasure having you. And once again, let me express our deepest empathy, for you and your family during this difficult moment. Like you said, justice will prevail.
Thank you.
And we surely believe that justice will prevail in this matter.
You all have a good day. Thank you, Liberia.
Sure.
My people, I love y'all. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Yeah.
So Moses, we're here, man. Listen, we got not much time, but the next topic here, before we get to it, is the sanction of Jefferson Koji.
Yep.
And I'm hearing that more to come. More to come. When I pay attention to these kinds of things, Moses, it tells me that all of us need to be careful. Power is temporary. Very temporary. Wealth can be temporary based on how you use it. But humility remains. And irrespective of the power you have, once you control yourself and your emotionality and humble yourself and be at an even keel, you're better off. Here's this young man who became a zealot the other day, threatening and breaking and chopping the Liberian people English plus the American people English plus the British people English, carrying on holding extravagant press conferences. Yeah. But what we hearing, he sent all his children through, accordingly, one of the ministers in the government who has a tie here in the States and formerly lived in Minnesota, which of course I believe will soon be coming back because we heard all of them bought houses. But his kids were in Kenya, and the Kenyan government being a part of, human
rights community.
I'm saying, the global community on human rights decided we can keep you here. And one of the things that hit me, this so-called free education program brought forth by this government, yet its own officials are choosing not to honor that education, but sending the children out of the country to become educated.
That's the irony.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a minute.
So, and don't forget that because I just want to buttress the point that you're making. If I tell you, say that healthcare at JFK is number one,
But
it's free for everybody. But every time I get headache, I have to fly to Ghana to go get treatment. Isn't that an irony of what I'm preaching? Why would you say you have free education? It's quality education, but you're sending your children abroad to go to school. Why can't you send them to the University of Liberia?
hmm
Why can't you send them to Tottenham University in Maryland, where the teachers are barely surviving? Why can't you? So go ahead.
Yeah, so I just thought about it, but I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, so let's see where the sanction goes and how impactful it's gonna be, and as we look forward to more sanctions, let's see who those names would be. But
But
let's start this conversation quickly and move on because we're not here all night. It's
I know,
already
I,
8:16, so
I know
uh,
we gotta go. But you said something regarding, if Mr. Koji's family will be allowed, if they are in the United States, whether they will be considered inadmissible, meaning that they say, hey, you can be here, or they will allow them to stay here.
what I'm hearing right now, they benefiting tax dollars, money, taxpayers' dollars, rather.
Or their own
Section
welfare,
8,
public
yeah,
assistance.
yeah. But the part of
That's
the part of millionaire, but the thing,
well. I think the situation is coming to exacerbate. When this story broke this morning, I was really busy at work, but I had the opportunity of just going through the pronouncement. The pronouncement is Volcano. Mr. Koji is unsanctioned for human rights violation. And as per the pronouncement, anyone who falls in that category, if the person has property in the United States or abroad, those properties are blocked. Meaning,
we don't know if
even
Kobe
if
has
Mr. Koji
property.
has,
Yeah.
no, I'm just
I'm like, let
explaining.
pass it on the water now.
Yeah, yeah. So if Mr. Koji has money here in the bank or he has money abroad, he run the risk of not having access to that money. So it is a serious matter. And you remember the conversation we had the other night, right? When we're just talking about life, the transition in life. You remember we talked about what happened in the 90s, what happened with Mr. Taylor and all of that, and and how people just transition from one level to another, implying that there's no permanency in life. And you said it again tonight. Nothing is permanent.
Especially power.
I tell you.
Power is thing that can bring you down quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But so Moses, we wanted to talk about these characters who want to be the speaker of our house.
Yeah.
And when we look at the characters,
Mhm.
according to our flyer, Jonathan Fonati Koffa, um, Musa Bility. Now for
Yeah.
Richard Nambwe Koon,
Yeah, he's from the Unity
is
Party.
different. All
Mhm.
right. And then Thomas Fallah,
Mm.
Thomas P. Fallah. But from what we know now, Thomas Fallah has endorsed Fonati Koffa
Mhm.
because I saw a signature list, which they
Yeah.
deny. And there's also pictures of them, the senators who kind
City
of,
representatives, yeah.
I'm going to say, sorry, representatives who kind of endorsing him, about 42 of them. But when you look at the two characters, Thomas Fallah is out now, so we're looking at 3 people,
Mhm.
particularly Fonati and Mussa Bility.
Mhm.
Moses. So these guys who went in the house are themselves criminals. To know that these people got open record globally. Let me just animate now. They know these people that BB Rogue then. Right? Let's
Yeah.
also irrespective of Fonati doing his time, he's not a man of credibility. Look at the wealth he's flaunting as a result of his. I don't know if he got deported. I'm
The
not
man was deported
okay. Good.
because he served
After that,
there.
yeah, because after that you get deported.
Yeah.
But look at this guy who is so much filthy rich now. Within the last years, he's gone to his country. Look at Mussa Bility is now considered one of the millionaires in the country. And the criminal records on them. Are these lawmakers who endorsing Fonati Koffa, are they really honest about fighting corruption?
They are not
But they themselves
nationalists.
are corrupt. And that is
Of
why they
course.
say birds of the same feathers flock
Flock together.
together.
Mhm. Uh, from what I'm reading and from what you and I see, it just tells you how difficult it is to fight graft in Liberia. The legislature is the first branch of government. So, in the legislature, if you do not have people with integrity, Volcano, the country is headed for a bigger trouble. We do not hate Mr. Koffa, but Mr. Koffa public records are so terrible that he should not even come closer to the legislature. Let me tell you something, Volcano. In public service, that's what they call conflict of interest. Meaning that when you find yourself in a position where there are competing interests, and in the case of Fonati Koffa, he finds himself in a situation like that.
Let me put this to you.
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
And I'm thinking here highly that the seditions want to be represented at the third branch of government. At the third highest position,
Of course,
which is
yeah.
the first branch of government,
Of course, yeah.
and they're doing everything.
To
But when
put
they're
it-
6 years, they had every powerful position in the country.
Yeah, everything was CDC, yeah.
Every powerful position: the president, the vice president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, the pro tem, all the way. Chief justices, all on their side.
Yeah.
But they're fighting now
To
to
be
get
the
to
speakership.
the speaker's position. And they feel that because of Fonati's resume, he is the most important of all of them. The well-learned lawyer, the most experienced, and he's been deputy, so it's easy for him to transition into the speakership. And so that is why they are making every effort to bring him on board. So all seditions have succumbed. Even if there was one sedition who wanted to say, you know what, with all the dark cloud over you, I'm going to put myself in the race just so we can have an alternative. No one wants to have an alternative. It's Fonati Koffa. They call him the JFK. So that's the point I want to make here. And that is why he will not recluse himself. He will not step back and say, wait a minute, you know what? This is not good for the country. If we mean business to move our country forward, if it's in the interest of the Liberian people and this is hanging over me, it doesn't go away. You're a former felon, It's there. It's not going away. If you were deported because of that, you were deported. You may have the freedom in Liberia, but you can't come back to America on your own, except you're traveling with a sitting president and you're part of that delegation. And maybe the immunity is there based on the fact that you are a diplomat in that instance. But if you're coming as a regular visitor, then it's a whole different story. But the point I'm making here is he's under pressure.
Yeah, and
He's the best
Volcano.
candidate for them.
Let's even forget about,
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna move.
yeah. Let's even rule out the criminal conviction in the United States. There are a lot of reasons why Councillor Fonati Koffa is not a good fit for the position of Speaker. I said earlier that
I know the conflict of interest with him representing all.
that's right.
Yeah,
The man has a law firm. He has a law firm that represents the interests of the Port Authority, the Maritime, and other prominent agencies of government. So if this man becomes speaker, he's in one branch of government. He has a law firm. A law firm will represent the interests of the institutions, the maritime and others. If these people are in a situation that involves the intervention of the legislature, whose interest will Mr. Koffa be representing? That's what they say, conflict of interest, when you have competing interests. The code of conduct spoke against that.
and I think it's also in the Constitution. There's a constitutional
It's clear.
article that addresses that.
It's a serious offense. Are you telling me if the Port Authority decides to submit a bill, maybe for an increase in cost of clearing things through the free port, and they submit that to the legislature, what introduces that? When the bill enters the House of Representatives, it gets on the speaker desk. So then how is the speaker going to deal with this?
That is why Yeke Koluba always cursed up Buffer Chambers, because when you put bill before him, he picks and chooses.
The man decides the agenda. Yeah.
So Yeke always said, well, when we put our own stuff, you don't want to put it on the floor.
Yeah, you don't put it on the floor.
So
Yeah.
then that means that Fonati would be a compromise, and he would really drag our country down the drain.
And you know one of the reasons why he should not be speaker? What's going to happen is that businesses in the country that are doing businesses with the Maritime, the Freeport, and other places that Mr. Koffa law firms represents, those people will be intimidated. They will say, oh, my man, that's the speaker. That's the speaker. The speaker law firm represents them. That's intimidating, but just by that. That's one of the reasons why Fonati Koffa should not be, elected as speaker.
And
another reason why,
you go ahead.
Another reason why, Volcano, there are laws in several countries where people with criminal records, such as Fonati Koffa, are considered inadmissible. Even Kenya, you spoke about Kenya, Jenna. If Mr. Koffa is elected as speaker, if he has to travel to Liberia, he has to go to he has to go to Kenya, he has to go to a rigorous process. And if the Kenyan government established that he's a former felon, he will not be allowed to enter Kenya. Look at the optics. So you will have a speaker that will be almost like a Kimaya. The man can't come to even if he's allowed to come to the United States, he will not be able to go to Congress. He will not be able to make high-level representation on behalf of the government. And Volcano already heard me to hear individuals who call themselves lawmakers, referring to Mr. Koffa as a man of integrity. Volcano, I couldn't believe it.
Moses,
what?
Moses, man, let me tell you this. And I told you I don't have long hair with you on the issues. And I'm telling you, Liberian people right now, I don't have long hair. I can't just stomach this.
Can
It's
you
a
imagine?
waste of time. You know when they say you waste water on dog back?
Yeah.
You're trying to fight for something. You're trying to fight for something, and you got other people just. But you see, let me tell the Liberian people this tonight, and I hope a lot of you are listening. You know that monument in front of the central, the Centennial rather pavilion. You see that monument in front of the Centennial Pavilion? That monument where the man to the top and everybody claiming on him and hauling him down?
Yeah.
I don't know why they put that there, but that's Liberia's story for you.
The power.
Maybe we need to throw that monument down for our country again. You know, the last time I was right there. I was right
And
there.
you are watching the thing, say, but what's going on here?
I walked the corner and I stood up before that monument.
And you
And
observe.
I said, this monument is the symbol of why our country is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph Boakai, president-elect, the Liberian people, you throw that monument down. That monument are over there, where the man to the top, and everybody claiming on him, trying
The
to
crowd
hold him down.
mentality.
Yeah, everybody holding him down.
Taking
It is
down,
the reason why our country is where it's at. That you have people who the Liberian people vested their interest in, stood in the line, and voted them to be representatives.
Mhm.
And they call for Fonati Koffa a man of integrity.
man of
A
integrity,
man of integrity. Is integrity. Moses, let me say this. Is integrity only common to one place and not common on the other side? So he doesn't have integrity in America, but he can have integrity in Liberia.
Integrity in that, bro. Of course not. It
When
shouldn't
all
be
of us
that way.
strive, when all of us strive to come to this country to build the integrity so that we can go back and change the status quo, change the modus operandi, create a new environment, and add value
Mhm.
to our being in our country for the things we've learned here to impart and make a difference, right? Or differences, however you want to put it.
Yeah. Mhm.
So he has integrity in Liberia, but he doesn't have integrity. So integrity can now be apportioned
Of course,
in
yeah.
locales.
With
in country.
either. Yeah, you say over
is-
me.
that
When
is the
I'm
worst-
in my room, I have
Yeah.
integrity,
Yeah,
but when I
and
go outside,
Yeah,
I'm trying.
yeah. So that's the highest degree of insanity on the
I tell
part of
you.
those people who are
Yeah,
calling for
lawmakers,
a man of
representative, men
integrity.
of integrity. They
Let's
say,
be frank. Let's be honestly
he's,
frank.
you know, another thing they said, the guy is a very good leader. Can you imagine that, Volcano?
I don't dispute that. I don't dispute.
But how can you be a good leader when you are very dishonest publicly?
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah,
We all can flaw. He may
yeah,
have,
we are human beings.
yeah, but listen now, he may have some good, tendencies and attributes in leadership. But the fact that the key for my studies in leadership, a doctoral candidate in the science of leadership, integrity is the pillar, is the foundational pillar of leadership.
Of course,
When you lose integrity, you are not a person of
nobody trusts you anymore.
integrity. It is the highest pillar, or one of the highest pillar in leadership. Integrity,
Your lawmakers say the man has integrity, my man.
humility.
Mhm.
Because integrity will have scared Fonati from touching the American people money in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Of course.
Integrity will have said to him, listen, my man, they want my hand inside. I can't play with these people money. But he saw a loophole and took advantage of it. So how
But
can you
Volcano, like you said, integrity is doing the right thing even when others are not looking. So, like somebody gave you and I a plate of rice, whether I'm at home or not, I also need a share of that food.
Let's go to the next man. Musa has
Yeah.
some ability. Let the people there put their Fonati Koffa there. I don't know how Liberia is going to go forward. I'm not saying that he couldn't change. I'm not saying that the man cannot
No,
but just the optic.
the optic
Just
is
the
too
fact
bad, my man. Yeah,
he
it's
went
too
to
bad.
that position because it was an opportunity for him to transform his life.
Mhm.
I'm being honest with you. Do you know how many Liberians in Liberia who have been deported and doing well
Oh, yeah.
because of criminal activity here in America? Does it make it right because they're doing well in Liberia? Does it make it right because they they've served their time and they now forgive them. So if you're equating Prince Johnson to his crime from 1990, then you must be equating Fonati Koffa to his crime here in America.
Of course, a
You must
crime
be
is a
equating-
crime.
yeah. You must be equating what's his name butt naked to his crime in April 6th.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that you can't separate. You can't say the crime was done here, so it's no more. It's
yeah.
I don't think they what they call it. What's that word when they scrap you off your record?
Or a sponge?
Expunge. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, my man, the man is if you go online, right? Because when your
Well, I'm just
criminal
saying.
records,
Just saying.
when your criminal records are expunged, when someone check you up online, they will not find our record. But if anyone wants to challenge us tonight, let you just grab, if he or she has a smartphone, just go on your smartphone and type in Fonati Koffa. The man whole record will pop up before you. The man is a known criminal. And this is a man that, seditions, especially those in the national legislature, the House of Representatives, say that this man is a man of integrity. So they're going to vote for him. Is that the kind of liberal that people all the effort that people put into getting a respectable government in our country, is that what the Liberian people are going to settle for again? To have a Fonati Koffa as speaker?
What's this? Yeah. Just like you said, this is from
Yeah.
North Carolina State
Yeah.
Bar.
My man, you had a team, man.
North Carolina State Bar, the bar's lawyer accused of embezzlement. The North Carolina State Bar, right here.
My man, the man has a whole
This is
dissertation
Zebulon, North
on
Carolina.
yeah.
Zebulon's former town manager is now a former lawyer. It's
Yeah.
right there. It's right there. Right
The
there.
disbarred man, he cannot practice law in America. And this is the man that seditionists are referring to. Seditionists who are lawmakers in the House of Representatives, referring to this man as a man of integrity. He's a good leader.
I
Oh,
didn't,
really?
I didn't choose to go for our local papers and stuff. I just wanted something.
But the thing is out there, everywhere
this
you
is-
go, the story is there. It's all over the place. Now let's look at the other gentleman,
Yeah,
Mussa Bility.
let's push quick.
I heard that Bility is already, has already made several promises. But one thing I can tell you, Mr. Bility is not a man of his word. Today he was certificated along with other people that were elected in October. But this is the same Bility who said that he would not have taken his seat.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cummins did not win. Why did he not resign? Why did he show up to be certificated today? So you see the integrity thing we're talking about? The man misled Mr. Cummins. He said, oh, my man, the presidency is for you. You will win. And he knew that Mr. Cummins was going nowhere. Took advantage of that man. The little money, coming hard, and they exploited that opportunity.
Yeah.
For their own good. Bility public record is so embarrassing. The Roll Fund will continue to sing this song. $6 million. It's not a debt. It is a tax the Liberian government imposed on petroleum products. That when you show up to the pump to fill up your tank,
It's automatic.
certain percentage goes to the government. So if I run a filling station at the end of the month and we sold, say, 50 gallons of gasoline, let's say hypothetically we collecting 50 cents, we just do the math and remit that money to the government for road maintenance. That's why the government, introduced that law. Bility then raised that money, and Bility refused to remit the government. To remit the money to government. And this is the man who wants to be your speaker. So can you imagine Bility becoming speaker? I mean, the man will sell Liberia. Mussa Bility will sell Liberia. He has no integrity. The two individuals, I think the lawmakers should just do Liberia the favor. They can't vote against these people. It is shameful. Very embarrassing. I saw that list, Volcano. That so-called list with 42 representatives saying that, oh yeah, we support Fonati Koffa. And we've been hearing about Bility throwing money here and there, mobilizing people.
I said,
Can you
make it
imagine?
pick up the Yeke Koluba or Jeep or something.
But I also heard that Yeke say he's not voting for the man.
Or Yeke get to that Jeep and send it to Lofa, the whole cool. Or that Jeep or that pickup. Yeke send that Jeep Lofa, the whole cool.
I think that some of Cummings' money, oh. You see how Bility use Cummings? The ANC people will come for me. Bility is a smart boy. He play Cummings, my man.
Oh, Billy is smart man.
The man play Cummings, my man. He allowed Mr. Cummings to get less than 2%.
You know what I meant did? You know what I meant did, Moses?
No.
You know what I meant did?
No.
The man ran a parallel campaign. He fully coming on the other side, but he holding his own grounds in Nima County. You see what the man did, right?
Yeah, but man, that boy is a crook.
So the man made sure he held grounds good. Let me tell you something. Bility was eyeing the speaker position. That is why he ran.
Of course.
He saw his closest route to the presidency.
Yeah.
Bility wants to be president in Liberia. I won't doubt it if Bility does not run in 2029.
They could be laying the foundation. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
That is why he decided to run as a representative, because it brings you 2 steps away from the
president. Will be the third person in the country.
You understand?
You know what I mean?
And to be frank with you, the man ran his parallel campaign and he won his seat. While Cummings was dragging, he said, "Without other man, by I leave for that portion of my campaign, okay."
And he kept telling Cummings, can you imagine the guy knew that Mr. Cummings was going to lose? But he kept encouraging the man, and the man was just throwing money at them.
How here am I growing a pine? Oh,
Yeah, he said, my man, I will never take my seat. And the thing I'm telling you about.
Let's do this. I know that I was thinking, but just like we do, what type of country is this?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, ladies watching tonight, do you want Fonati Koffa as your speaker in the 55th legislature?
Yeah,
you want Mussa Bility as your speaker in the 55th legislature? And now we're going to go to Richard Nangwe Koon. I have a little biography here that I want to read about him, since there's not much on him.
Yeah, Mr. Koon.
I was able to find something. Koon, I didn't know he has a PhD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know he taught accounting at the University of Liberia for several years.
Yes. He has a PhD.
Okay.
He graduated from University of Michigan.
Okay.
The Stephen M. Ross School of Business, Doctor of Philosophy, Accounting and Finance, 2016 to 2021.
Okay.
He's a professor at the University of Liberia. As a lecturer, he teaches in the MBA program, Accounting 511, Introduction to Accounting Fundamentals, Accounting 531. Those are the courses. Cost accounting and costing procedures and accounting, and then 602, Advanced Financial Accounting, and this is for undergraduate, government budgeting and taxation. He once served as lead financial analyst at Proven Associates Consulting. He served as inventory specialist at Threshold Enterprises. He served as general accounting supervisor at Milford Regional Medical Center in these United States. International public sector accounting standards as adopted by the government of Liberia. He chaired on the IPSAS between 2009 and 2013, where they were training the government accounting staff, controller and chief accountants and budget officers and accounts clerks, procurement staff through that program at government ministries, agencies, and autonomous agencies. He served as finance director at Norwegian Refugee Council, where he did inventory control, reconciliation, and perform all other responsibility duties as assigned on a daily basis. Also, intercompany accounting, Mobile Oil, Liberia. So his education is at the University of Michigan, Stephen M. Ross School of Business, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Accounting and Finance from 2016 to 2021. He did his graduate course. Grand Canyon University Graduate School, Phoenix, Arizona, with emphasis in government budgeting and financial accounting. South Dakota Board of Accountancy, expected certified public accountant. He also went to the Cardinal University College in Swakopmund County, Liberia, Master of Business Administration, General Accounting from 2004 to 2006 in the University of Liberia, Bachelor's of Arts in Administration, BBA, Accounting and Business Management, 1994 to 2001. So that's how much, and I took this from his LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
So he considers himself a professor of accounting at the University of Liberia. And the fact that he has a PhD, that makes him a professor automatically. So Richard Koon, what do you think?
Well, like we have put the other guys under the microscope. I think it would just make a lot of sense for us to also put.
So I like what Thomas
Mr.
Awati.
Koon.
Thomas, you took my pick. You took my pick. You took my pick. I would vote for Yeke over Bility and Koffa.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thomas
But,
said also, those
Mhm.
people don't care about Koon's resume or experience. They don't care.
I mean, people are only concerned about the brown
Yeah.
envelope. Yeah,
And if you look at Koon, he's also comparable. He's
highly
right
comparable.
up there. He's
Highly comparable.
if all of this is true, who shall doubt that they didn't?
I mean, he's not going to fake that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
hopefully they
obviously.
check it out. They could do
Yeah.
fact check as part of the committee. You
Mhm.
know, but honestly, I think he's solid.
I mean, academically,
Yeah,
from
he's
what
solid.
from what you just read, you
Yeah,
know,
But I don't
he's
know
solid.
about his integrity. I don't know how he voted in the house. I don't know
Yeah.
what type of
And
yeah.
that's what I said, that it would be fair for us to also put him under the microscope. I've been hearing that he was on the Ways, Means, and Finance Committee,
As one of
along with
that's one of the
Thomas Fallah and other people.
chopping.
Yeah. So, and some of his colleagues are raising concern that
He's very
while
competent.
on that committee, they were not pleased with the way the committee handled, financial issues in the house. I know little about him, so my appeal to Representative Koon is that he has to come clean.
and tell his story.
He has to come and tell his story. Let him get to the public. Let him tell the people what he did on the Ways, Means, and Finance Committee, because TV always
you keep sending your vote in. Raymond Clark said he picks Yeke for speaker.
damn, but man, Yeke very popular. Oh?
Yeke is my pick. Jada, when he gets his speaker, he can't be cussing again.
No,
They will
but
cause
Yeke
him.
someone know that
No, they will cause him. Now he will be on the other side. He will be on the other side of the spectrum. He the one will take the man cussing.
Yeah, but Yeke will, a certain level I wish he get, certain thing you are just not doing. I strongly believe that he won't do that, man.
Y'all please send the vote in, please. We want to know, do y'all want Fonati, Mussa Bility, Richard Koon, or Yeke Koluba? I'm putting Yeke in the race. I'm putting Yeke in the race. Yeah, please, we want to know. Yeke got two now, or everybody. Oh. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
my man.
so you're right. Richard Koon is not that
Yeah,
popular.
he has to. He has to come public to tell
And
his
I
story.
think he settled for being on the committee because Thomas Fallah is representing the CDC, and I where all
Yeah,
the top he is. So
of course. Yeah,
he more qualified than Thomas Fallah
of course. Yeah,
to head that committee based on what we
yeah,
see here.
yeah, yeah. Heading a committee in the legislature is not based on merit. Once you're in a good book with the leadership, you can
Mhm.
get on a committee. There are a lot of guys that are on committees, that even heading committees that have no expert. I mean, that have no expert.
Expertise.
Yeah, that have no expertise in the functioning of those committees. Take for example, you grab a carpenter and make him head of the committee on communication and broadcasting. How do you expect someone who is a carpenter to head such a committee?
All the men
But
will say, all the men will say, let's do good work, yeah.
So man, anything you bring by, I agree because the man is limited.
So Moses, as we
Yeah.
wrap up on this and move to memory lane, and then what type of country is this?
Mhm.
If Fonati becomes Speaker of the House, what difference will it make?
Not much of a difference. It would just be
Is he
another
going?
embarrassment.
Is he going to change 365 degrees, or he going to be there propagating the interest of the CDC that failed in leadership for our country, and that is why the Liberian people say enough is enough. Are we just going to have to deal with this situation because it looks like the CDC might be majority in the House?
Yeah, yeah, in
Hmm.
majority, and they also have
And how much
and
would that be of a balance of power? Because if the seditions who are in the House were very, very integrous in their dealings, then I'll say there could be a balance of power, and I would love that. I would love a balance of power. But when you got so crooks, my man, in the House,
I mean everybody just concerned
yeah,
about
about the stomach and the pockets, then we in serious mess.
look, Volcano. I can tell you, my man,
That
one
is
of the
why I
most
know you coming here quick. That is why I'm propagating for an independent candidate, one with a pedigree. If it's even on, look at our man Jared Youngboy and all. The man just went there. He even he's voting for. Ah, give up, man. The man voting for Fonati Koffa. I saw him on the list. If
the
that's
man did.
the man on the list,
Hey man,
he's
Jerry, man.
independent.
My man
I
Jerry
saw
let
him
us down.
voting for him.
Jerry did?
I said that list that I saw, except that fake
Yeah,
list. Ah,
yeah. But Jerry let us down again.
if that fake
Damn.
list,
Can you imagine?
mhm.
And I don't want to go too strong on
My
Jerry,
brother,
but Jerry, you come from a very civilized society. You live here for years.
if I were a representative entering that house, I'm fighting to be the speaker. I can't get my photo. Nobody there that I see the country where it went and where it has gone for me to say no, it's not possible. Even though if they vote for me, no problem, but I will not give my vote. I'm
My man,
going to declare myself. And I saw Jerry Neon is only in Fonati Koffa.
business as usual, my man. What kind of country is this, my man?
We'll come to it. So my question, answer it before we move on quick.
Yeah.
Do you see any better men for
I
that
don't see.
house?
I don't see.
I'm talking about for the country.
Now what I'm saying, I don't
The
see.
president elect will drive the country.
Yeah,
Right?
agenda for the
Yeah.
executive.
Yeah.
But this is what's gonna happen. If you have a Fonati Koffa, who is a known criminal, as Speaker of the House of Representatives,
That's a slap in the face of the Americans. They'll say the people ain't
of
serious.
course they're being serious.
All the sanctions we're putting out there in the state are
No.
just stupid.
So you see what's gonna
You know,
happen? You will have a
throw that statue down. If nobody throw that statue down, when I go back to Liberia next year, I throw in that statue down myself. I will be the only citizen who will carry my crew will knock that statue down. That statue cannot stay up there in front of Centennial Pavilion. I don't care what it memorializes, it got to come down.
yeah. So Volcano, let me just quickly say this, right? If you have a Fonati Koffa as speaker, this is what are going to be the optics. You have a sanctioned Natana McGill for fraud. You have a sanctioned Bill Tuawe for fraud. You will have a convicted felon as a speaker. The only thing that may
I'm Mussa Bility too now.
okay, yeah. Then you have a well-known criminal internationally, Mussa Bility, in the house. Okay, you have all these criminals in there. Now, the only thing that may happen in good or in the interest of the country, if there's a change in position for the position of Senate Pro Tem, if you have someone who is intelligent, who has integrity in the Senate, because the Senate is the upper house. So all the nonsense that will come from Fonati Koffa, when they get to the Senate, of course the Senate is not going to pass them. That would be the stalemate. The Senate will be the savior. You want collaboration between the two houses. But if you have a speaker that is noted for criminality, and you have a Senate Pro Tem who has integrity, who knows exactly what he or she is doing, it will be difficult for Fonati to make any impact. Yeah.
So we're in a dilemma.
That would be a significant dilemma, And do you know that Fonati can even stall, agenda from the executive? Because all the bills are introduced in the House before they get to the Senate. So you send it, Fonati say, well, this is not in the interest of the CDC. It may choose not to put it on the agenda. Oh, yeah.
All right, Moses. So I was trying to find that statue, and I keep getting crazy feedback. So let me just go to memory lane here tonight.
Yeah.
So what we have in memory lane tonight, written by Mane Sumo.
Yeah.
Take a walk with Joe. Take a walk with Joe. By that time, President Tubman was expanding his authority to the interior of Liberia, and Liberia was sweet. The Rocktown Boys RTB of the old order was replaced by the Public Relations Officers, the PRO. You remember that aged of Monrovia politics of the Republican Party of Liberia versus the True Weak Party. Let's go down memory lane. He was born as Yuma, a name given to the fifth male child of a traditional Kisi family. Those days, one of the most common Western names of male amongst the Kisi and Bandi tribes was Joseph. Almost all young men of the Kisi and Bandi tribes named themselves Joseph. My name, yes, it was on November 30th, 1944, a child was born in a tiny village called Wasonga in Foya District, Lofa County, Liberia. He was named Yuma, aka Yuma Boykai. Little Yuma ambitions for school made him to walk daily from his Foya village into neighboring Sierra Leone to attend school. In 2009, I sat with Yuma, then Vice President of Liberia in Monrovia. We began our discussion by reminiscing on our days at the United Pentecostal Mission School in Tottenburg, Bombing County. I was amazed, very amazed, so very amazed when Ambassador Boyka could still remember me in 2009 since he last saw me in 1971. By then, I was but a 7-year-old student at the United Pentecostal Mission School. Great memory, I thought to myself. Very great memory indeed. But this is what stuck with me most. Ambassador Boyka told me his story on how he walked from his village of Wasanga in Foya District, Lofa County, to the city of Monrovia in Montserrat County. They said Boyka walked from all the way there to Monrovia. He said, I walked that long distance in the name of going to school in Monrovia. How many of us have or will walk like Joe? I can relate. If I could sing, let me sing just a closer walk with Joe. Daily walking close to Joe. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. I'm glad that you walked the walk. And today I can rather gladly sing when when my feeble life was thought to be over, and they said time for me will be no more. God me gentle, safely over to your new Liberia. Just a closer walk with Joe. Grant it, O Jesus. This is my plea. My fellow Liberians, you did not walk with them for the past 18 years. You were left out. The others were weak and lean, with no shoulder to lean on. So they walked in cliques, but you remained hopeful, even when rather you were left behind. But I have been happy lately, so happy to know that you now have a clue to the new Liberia. Many Liberians ago, Joe walked for you so that you too can walk in new Liberia. A Liberia filled with justice, security, and opportunities for growth. Yes, he walked. Thank you, Joe, for walking. I can see a new Liberia, a Liberia for all Liberians, a coming peace. So what he brilliantly did here was he took the Joe Boyka story and aligned it with the song "Just a Closer Walk with Thee,"
Yeah.
and that was fantabulous.
I mean, Dr. Smo is a creative writer. He writes very well.
He reminds me of, even though I don't think he's as good as, and look, man, get
James
me,
Wallow.
James Wallow, the late James Wallow. You know, yes,
Oh man, love Mr.
yes,
Wallow, man.
yes. When I
How
used to
how
do
they
the
call
thought
it? How
for
they
the
used to
day, the
call
thought
it?
for the day. I used to do the thought.
Yeah,
Patrick started, and then when he left, I took on the thought for today,
for
written
today.
by James Wallow. Those were the good old days of LBS. We got to bring LBS back.
Man, look, I met James
I don't care
was
what the people do.
a very good writer, man.
We,
James, yeah,
and you
only
know,
right.
Douglas Fangalo wrote something on,
Mhm.
on his page talking about the new LBS, what it would look like. My brother, we can close many of the radio stations down in Liberia if
Of
that
course.
LBS is reunited. I'm telling you, you bring a Volcano Shelton back to broadcasting, you bring a Moses Sandy, an Octavius Obe, you know, I'm talking about the brains of the old days of
Put the
broadcasting.
guys in your newsroom to run it for you.
My man, listen, ELBC
Yeah,
would be the new phenomenon. Radio stations
yeah,
would just automatically disappeared.
of course.
And you know why all of them thriving? Because everybody does the same thing.
Yeah.
The very ELBC of today is doing what the petty radio station that can't even pay their staff because they have no
Yeah.
content.
No, yeah.
You listen to people
No
on the
content,
radio,
my man.
turn the radio off. And this LBS, I'm not afraid to say here tonight, it was strictly a partisan radio station. I'm being honest with you.
But
This
you're not
one
the only one who's
I
saying
was
that.
driving.
Even
I was
yeah,
driving and I heard the disparaging things that were talking about President-elect Joe Biden.
can
And
you
I'm asking
imagine?
myself, this is the national radio station? For real? This is the national radio station when journalists should cut the line, in as much as President we are is president, yet have a balance. Let everybody have a part. Because this is taxpayers' dollars. They pay for
Taxpayers,
it.
the people paying
Because
for them.
the enactment of the legislative act that brought LBS into being is not fully funded by government. LBS is supposed to generate its own funds, and the government in part adds some money. But unfortunately, that's what you get when you put people in position who don't have the pedigree, and it's all partisanship. And so everything just sounds the same. You go to Monrovia, all the radio stations, everybody Liberia, Liberia, Liberia. I said, what kind of country is this? So what type of country is this, Moses? That the people change the country name from Liberia
Yeah, to
to Liberia.
Liberia.
What type of country is this?
I tell you what
Because
type of country is this?
all the real people who can pronounce the
They are not
country's
in the
name
they
as
are not in the
Liberia.
house, eh?
Liberia. They
Yeah,
are
they
all
call
over
it
the place.
Liberia.
So they pick up something like Oakland, Liberia. Welcome to Liberia. Then they say zero, they say 00. I said, what? Then they call cell phone, Phone, phone. They say phone. My cell phone. Bring my phone here. I mean, I give up. We got to clean that place. Moses,
Yeah, man.
we got to go back to the Liberia that I know.
LBS need a lot
Lee
of work to be
LBS.
done.
No, Lee LBS. Let's talk about Liberia. Let's talk about Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia needs a lot of
Oh, God.
house cleaning, in every discipline. So you start with healthcare. Yeah. Look, Mama, there are a lot of things that Mr. Barker and his team can do to put Liberia back on track. You don't have to start with millions of dollars, but gradually.
Let me tell you this.
You can make it, yeah.
Let me tell you this, and I'll be honest with you, Moses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what the people say. You and I are not foreigners to our country.
No.
We're not. We sought to improve our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We sought to do something better for ourselves. I'm not saying if I were in Liberia, I wouldn't be better off. I don't know what the future would have held. Sometimes I look back and I say, maybe I was in Liberia, then I'll be man too.
Oh, yeah.
There's no guarantee for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot, and no government can sideline the diaspora.
It's not
I don't care how
possible.
you put it. You cannot sideline the diaspora. The diaspora of Liberians, you still have some of the greatest good think tankers and attributors who can come to that country with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Create an enabling environment and people will come.
That's true.
You can't keep us in captivity, if you want to put it that.
You
A lot
can't.
of us want to come home and we want to make contribution. We want to the situation.
You want the guys coming
go back
to take care of things for you and make it work.
So there's no way you can sideline the diaspora. Any government,
you need the expertise, you need the exposure that people have.
But bring people who mean well, and if they don't mean well, kick them out.
We keep them.
Just create the open opportunity, So we can change the country collectively.
Definitely,
honestly. So let's go to what type of country is this? My man Raymond Clark here. He said, what type of country is this? So sanction turned to autopsy.
So, one thing I like the United States government for is that whenever, the CDC boards go around shouting, they just close their mouth. I don't know why Jefferson Koji didn't call a news conference today. What type of country is this that the man will say he was sweating? They will sweat. What? He said what? Where they will defend, they will defend the cause of Liberia with their sweat and blood.
Yeah. And
I don't know why. I don't know why he never called a news conference today to challenge the Americans. Lord Jefferson Koji sanctioned.
What type of country is this?
Yeah.
According to Manisumo,
Yeah.
it's now called LIB. LIB, my man, Liberia.
That bit.
And they're confident. And you know what's interesting to me?
Mhm.
When I hear that stuff, it hurts me so much that the radio stations don't have the people from the old school of broadcasting. You know when we were coming up in this thing,
We have people that we look up to.
not look up to. If you made a mistake, they're calling you in the office.
Yeah,
It will take you off the air so you can reflect. You know how many times it took me off the air? I said, no, it will not happen again. So you have to go and improve. You got to go study. You got to go improve your diction, your English, your grammar.
Yeah.
But nobody takes nobody off the air. I was listening to one of the radio stations. In fact, not one, LBS. The girl was saying March, the month of March.
Yeah.
MASH. The
But-
program, listen, the program will be MASH 15. I said, what kind of trouble is this? Mash.
We're not different here. But Volcano, sometimes I listen to the guys. Take for example, information. The man will say information are. Can you imagine? Information is a collective noun. It means the verb has to be singular.
Just like equipment.
Yeah, equipment is. You
Yes.
can say
That's the equipment.
And these are serious broadcasters, oh.
Oh yeah, they're passing it around.
You know, information are being provided. Look. Yeah, but we hope that things will change for the better. You know, we want things to change for the better.
Let's go back to what
For
type
our
of country
country.
is this? What my man say, Emmanuel Jackson said, too much self-centeredness, everything about Liberia. To develop a country, it takes self-sacrifice and humbling ourselves.
I agree, Emmanuel. He's
Again,
absolutely
how
right.
humble. What type of country is this that Liberians lack? Oh, she meant to say that Liberians like pronunciation.
Yeah. A
Okay.
good number of our people do
Yeah.
not pronounce.
Yeah.
No.
What type of country is this? When I worked for Bank of America, I saw the CEO of the stand on the line for service in the cafeteria.
Of course, yeah.
So the CEO didn't go jump the line.
You lead by example.
He stood in the line. Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where the MCC TV is only used to cover CDC events?
Can you imagine that? Taxpayers' money is the same thing you were talking about, ERBC. You use ERBC to cover the president. When opposition comes to say they want airtime, you say no airtime. What type of country is this? What type of country is this that when you work in foreign service for the Liberian government, they let you starve to death? No pay.
Mm-hmm.
What type of country is this?
Yeah. Moses, what type of country is this?
Mhm.
That everything we try to do, we got to be scrambling.
Yeah.
We got to scramble.
Mhm.
We're scrambling now for a speaker.
Yeah. And we're looking to the Warsaw.
Yeah. Out of 5.2 so-called million people, I always say, let's just make it 6 million. So, une Fonati Koffa a lawyer?
Yeah. I know Fonati
But who
Koffa.
told you say une lawyer can be speaker?
Yeah. It just need a good leader. Jimbo was not a lawyer, but he didn't say he had, in fact, he had no idea what he was doing.
Chimba,
The other man was just sitting there. He had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, I said that bad boy. So we have bad boy. Yeah, go about that.
And the man stay in court. Oh. The man stay fighting for a position.
But my man, you know what type of pride and glory came with that man job?
Oh yeah.
On GSA rule. When that man going home in the evening, then that job we are taking shortcut. You got Joe, we are down rehab.
Yeah.
With Chimba's coming, Joe, is that a Joe we are taking shortcut, my man?
I mean, when the people announce the election result, my man, the man pass out.
Most are looking for that statue that keeping our country down. Can't find it
The
back.
man couldn't believe that a young man from Maryland, would have won him. He just couldn't believe that. I'm told that the guy who even won the election who beat Chambers. I don't know how credible that how credible that story is. But I heard that the gentleman was indeed a money exchanger. That's the man who beat
Let's go back here. What other country is this? The president-elect of Liberia wait at the bus stop and Liberians criticize him for that. Can you imagine?
You see, just simplicity though. The man said, look, I don't have to rush. I will sit there and wait for the bus. And people said that's a
But wait, who's bus stop now? That in America bus stop?
Making the states, in fact, these shuttles.
And the reason why I'm asking who's bus stop, I want to know that like, thank God. Hey Papa, you help me, oh, and I found a picture here. Hey, thank you, Lord.
And I want to bring in a
hey my man, thank you, oh Papa. Thank you.
Display
Hey ba. Don't all can hear prayers, my man. I'm trying to make it big now. He won't get big. What kind of picture is so?
Yeah. So by
the picture, he won't get big, but I will put it up here so the people can see it.
People see it. Yeah, I picture way up there. Everybody fighting to bring the guy man.
So there's the man up there. You see the man to the
way
top.
up there. All the other people fighting to bring in.
You see, yeah, the man. You see,
yeah, my man bringing in.
All in the man down. That this is our country. Yeah, the man.
That's the crab mentality, my man.
Everybody holding this guy down. They're not building together. They're not numbers in strength yet. That numbers in bringing people down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the picture I've been looking for. Ego. Who's enlarging it, but
it's not bad.
That's the symbol right there. This is the symbol that got our country backwards. We need to knock this monument down. I said it. We need to knock this monument down.
I think we should give that contract there to Chambers, Buffer Chambers, to knock that monument down. What?
Raymond Clark, what type of country is this? Are they still going to fight in flesh and blood?
Koji,
yeah.
Maybe the mail will call news conference tomorrow because I bought press conference, but it's not fun.
My man asking what was the intended message of that statue. They're telling you, I think the statue means when somebody get to the top, they need to look down to the man and help them bring them up. When the people hanging on you and bringing you down,
how you make it?
How you make it? You can't make
it. Yes, I think to stay up there, man, pulling you down.
So yes, the same Baka was in the US here waiting at the bus stop. Somebody took picture because they're looking for something to talk about. But the people in Liberia, they even got bus stop. They got bus stop, so they don't understand it. They don't. There ain't no bus stop in Liberia.
Wow.
You either go to a parking station, the follow you on the sardine and carry to one destination. Finish.
I mean, you were talking about system, can you imagine those days? I can still remember we used to go Johnson Street or
McDonald's
on the bus, right?
Back in the day before the war was McDonald Street.
Yeah, we'll go there, we'll get on the bus,
or the waterside around Housing Bank.
You get on the bus,
Once you in the waterside area, you go to Housing Bank.
You get there, all the buses and all the places, Nuku Town.
And then McDonald Street to get taxi and buses too.
For Painsville, you go there. Kakatan, or you go there.
So we have places where we say Buchanan parking.
Yeah, they are designated areas.
Designated areas. Where are those days, Moses?
And instead now they put a literal fight. Oh,
my man. You know what I mean? The fan car? Nothing do.
Wow.
Thomas said, waterside used to be the main transportation hub. But not only that, Thomas, we also have McDonald Street when I was growing up.
Yeah, McDonald's, yeah.
McDonald Street was one of the major hubs. You could
at the intersection of McDonald and Benson Street.
No, it's not intersection, it's in a gap.
Yeah.
So you got Carey Street, and you got Benson.
Mm-hmm.
Benson,
You
yeah.
know that McDonald and Benson right there going down the other way.
But you also got Carey Street now. It's in a block.
Yeah.
It was the whole block, yeah.
Yeah.
Going to World Post and Telecommunications. Crown
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yeah. I grown up, Boba. What are you talking? And I became a man. I know that town from front and back. Yeah, baby.
So you know I would tell you, my man. Yeah,
Yeah.
my man. Those days, my man. You want travel? You
Oh my
just go
God,
to
yeah,
the area,
those
my
days
man.
were
Get on your
good.
bus or
Those
get in your
were the
taxi.
days. But who told
Yeah.
you so the days can come back? The good thing is many of us are still alive. And if we can set it up for our children and our grandchildren, hopefully it can stay on. You know, one of the things I heard us, and we'll soon be leaving Moses, and I think we'll leave at 9:30. We have not preserved our culture and heritage. We have not preserved the historical events of our time. We can only talk about it. And for those of us who are still alive and we're privileged to be in that era, but we have no reservation of that. And sooner or later, at some point, when you and myself are no more and nothing to preserve those days in artifacts, in historical facts, in document, in videos, in whatever it is, maybe this conversation will last when you and I are long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will look back and say, "Oh,
Yeah, those guys.
people,
Yeah.
those guys were talking about something, but what it used to be. What? Well, how can we find it? That's the lagging of where we have not put our history in order.
Yeah.
Liberia is the most unfortunate society when it comes to historical preservation. I was just standing at our National Museum a month ago. It's a dilapidated site.
Wow.
The National Museum is not a museum. It's just an old frame Congo building sitting there next to the Centennial Pavilion. That whole block is just a mess. I'm being honest with you.
And that building been down there for years, oh.
You're not telling me about that building, Moses. The building is a frame.
That building is unsafe now.
There's nothing to call a museum. And Ellen Johnson, why you think I get vexed with that old lady here? Why you? If this old lady had the guts to sell our National Culture Center without preserving the history of the culture of our country, and the National Museum, with all that we've gone through in the Civil War,
No way you can preserve them.
And no government has thought about building a national museum to start collecting evidence of our war, collecting evidence of our prehistory. It is pictures that people can come and see,
pictures,
like in an art museum. What type of country is this?
George Weah was basically soccer, my man.
Even the George Weah, what museum did he build for himself?
For all his.
And you want to sit here and say the boy that was the best president?
Out of his awards, my man.
Museum in the country. Do you know that the in this country they have the rock and roll museum? They have the this museum, the that museum, the that museum, the this museum.
Can you imagine having Mr. Weah's award in a museum? The normal people that will be going there to see that.
That Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, having it there.
We have missed our priorities. And that's why I said governance in Liberia is a joke. Look at the people. I couldn't find a picture of the 42 senators so you can see. So I would call them Bele. Let them get there with me.
Yeah, in fact, the guy put this in the share to you so you can.
No, I won't find the 42 senators, man.
Yeah, what I'm saying. I saw something that Alphonso, yeah, be doing that.
I keep calling him senator.
Eh?
I know for the two representatives, I keep calling them senator.
Yeah. I sending it right now to the rendezvous so you can go there and get it. These are the people.
So what country is this?
Can you imagine, my man? People wasted their time, their resources, and you got these criminals, coming to bring another criminal as speaker. You have the people that come and open the page on rendezvous. I mean, these people are so self-centered, my man. And they say, oh yeah, the mayor is a mayor of integrity. Integrity? Where's the integrity? And they got one female, more than two. She's the one that campaigning, one member Breeze.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Have you seen the photo?
Yeah, man. I got him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mose.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, these people, the people are not nationalists. It's all about what they can get for themselves.
Yeah, the people there, yo.
Yeah, yeah, the people there.
Denying you. They say that there's some people.
Mm-hmm. That member there, she's in the middle.
Look at the people that really representing your country
You
at
see?
the legislature.
You have Fallah there.
Huh?
Look at the people.
And the Jabba guy right here, I think he's from Toba Village. The Toba Village man, I don't know the man name.
Look at the people. Because, my man. Look at where they took the photo. Look at the environment.
Look at.
I mean, all the people look at farmers.
What country is this?
Yeah, what type of country is this? Look at this. People. Yeah. Look at the other man there.
That leader up there.
Yeah, look at the woman. She all over the place on Facebook.
She in the photo. She happy. She happy.
Yeah, she in the photo.
Then look at Thomas Father God. Look at the other guy. I saw the guy from the man from Tomo Village. Yeah,
you see the man from Tomo Village. Yeah,
yeah, that is guy, man. What you mean? Got some kind of look on me. I know Papa, some kind of funny name he got. I think his nickname or something, but I've seen him.
But man, all the guys are obese, my man.
Look at the people that propagating the laws.
Yeah,
bringing bills to the floor. Mm-hmm. And yes, indeed, Fonati is probably the most educated among all of them.
Of course, yeah.
Why wouldn't they celebrate him?
Mm-hmm. Celebrating the man. And they're all in a joyous mood. I mean, Mema, wow, representing the Mema Breeze. How do you justify this? What will you tell your children when you are parenting them? When you're telling your kids about honesty, what will you tell them? You suppose someone who has an open record of criminality?
What type of country is this? Emmanuel Jackson says that Charlotte Monrovia Central High now, if you know Monrovia Central High.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the one had the...
That place used to be a bus terminal.
Yeah, they also had the labor ministry in there one time, if I recall, during the war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it used to be the Charlotte Memorial High School, and then when Dole came to power, he scratched that name off and then put in Monrovia Central High, and that's what he's talking about. Thomas Awaji say we can get that back if we have an organized government. Yes, the good old days. So we could have fixed his childhood home in Claratown and turned it into a sports museum.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been a very beautiful place to go to. Man.
Absolutely. So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Bele people.
All the better people there. Look at that. You know?
These are the people who are
remember Breeze, what Fonati Koffa gave you?
Gave up.
Maybe what, $10,000?
What type of country is this? Foreign country taking the lead to persecute criminals in the government.
Yeah, and at the same time, Liberians are celebrating criminals.
Yeah. Moses, I think we cover grounds, man. Listen.
Yes, we did.
It's sad, Moses. Well, I'll let you give your parting word before I do mine, and then
today is a good day for Liberia. Jefferson Koji is on sanction. You know, I'm celebrating. Yeah, I mean that young man. He has serious, human rights, records, and someone like Koji has to be held accountable. Natana McGill, Bill Troy, all these people should be held accountable. You know, so today is a good day for Liberia.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Well, on my end, listen, we are at a crossroad. We said that this election was consequential, but I don't think it is. And I don't think Barca can do much in these 6 years because the country was sunk to its lowest ebb, as I said the other day. And it takes the collective effort to pull it out of the abyss. But it's possible if it doesn't reach the brim. Okay? If it doesn't reach the brim, it will at least get to a place. What I'm concerned about President Bouaka elect and your formation of your government will be structure. Structure that you put in place. If you're going to frame your structure after certain structures, because of course Liberia is a borrowed country, is legislation, is preamble, is constitution, is formation, all of that. You're in America now. Start looking, start discussing, and see what could take our country from this dungeon. And hold your lieutenants accountable. Moses,
Mhm.
I'll tell you, our topic for Tuesday, I'm suggesting. We have always said the new Liberia.
Yeah, they know that, bro.
Do you know how many governments have come with that phrase, the new Liberia, in anticipation to wean the populace to them and looking forward to a new Liberia and to go back to status quo?
From a man,
To make a
1980s.
mess? That's what I'm saying.
1980, a Gloria example, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So Tuesday's topic would be, what is considered the new Liberia?
I agree.
Because I'm hearing people, I just heard Jerome Verdier talking about the new Liberia on a Boyka. We just heard the new Liberia on a Ellen. We heard the new Liberia on a Charles.
Under George
We
Weah.
heard the new Liberia on a George Weah. I don't want to hear anything about the new Liberia just as a verbatim. I want to see substance. I want to see, oh God.
Yeah, concrete actions,
That's
you
what
know,
I'm saying,
to make it. Yeah.
tangibles, Moses.
Mhm.
I'm tired with the new Liberia. And we come back, we start from day one and go back to status quo.
Yeah.
So President-elect Bwaka, you still have good Liberians out there that mean well. Just like you have to tap into the resources, the human resources of your country. Forget about infrastructure right now. The country is in is bad shape. There's not all of the things you talked about in your arrest plan. You would build roads, you would do. Forget about it. What we need in Liberia is the right conscience, societal conscience. Moses, I lay here every night and I think about how we can project the positivities to get our country back on the right footing. We need societal conscience. We need to bring our people back to sanity. The people are insane, Moses. If you go to Liberia, you'll be saddened by the way people behave and the way they act. You ask yourself, is this Armageddon? You ask yourself, is this Gotham City? Gotham City. So we need a sane conscientization of our people. We got to work on that. It will take some time to get the people conscientized, to get readjusted. Then in the process, create opportunity to bring investors, tap into many of the things that you don't have to do as government. Bring investors to open up the corridors of opportunities and employment. Because an idle mind is the mind of the devil's workshop. So when people begin to go to work and can find something to do and being held accountable through the private sector, Moses, they will do well.
Absolutely.
It is the private sector that drives America. How many people can get federal government job in this country? No. Because the rigorous, in Liberia, you get government job, just to say you just walk down the street, somebody that will employ you.
Mm-hmm.
Government job should be the highest job to get. The private sector should be the highest employer.
Of course.
And so this government coming must work to bring the private sector on board so that employment can create the opportunity to decrease the idle mind in the devil's workshop. Then people will become reconscientized and they'll begin to focus. Now, Mr. Bwaga, you can pay for this because this is this is important. You should pay for this. What I'm telling you, you should pay for this. This don't come out of the mind. It comes out of research. It comes out of critical thinking. It comes out of data-driven research. Like the people saying, like, we're the empirical evidence they can prove, right, Moses?
Yeah.
But what I'm offering and what I'm advising this government to do is focus now on the people. On the people. Because what good are infrastructural developments if they don't be served well by the people? You can build skyscrapers if they're not maintained by the consciousness of the people. Those skyscrapers will become dilapidated.
Of course, yeah.
Our country needs sane minds. That's my thought.
You're absolutely right. And you talk about empirical evidence, right? When you use the word empirical evidence, it just reminded me of Koji. And when he challenged the election result, empirical evidence to show that. Excuse me. He said the guy empirical evidence to show
That Baka rigged the
that
election.
the people rigged the election.
That would be the funniest thing. What type of country is this that the opposition can rig the election?
Not only the Americans were
I
waiting
mean,
for the
say
man.
Harvard spent 15 years selling mineral resources. I mean, that's another man that need to go on sanction and be strict. I'm telling you, uno corruption is just quiet.
Very calm.
Man,
Yeah, nothing about you.
Quiet. Don't mind.
But your own seditions got upset with you. They accused the man of supporting United Party before during the election. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
They were getting angry. But
So
we made great show, yeah.
I know, my man.
Yeah.
My God, please listen to me. If you listen to me, like business, but you gotta invest in your people, the young people. Gotta find a way to get them,
Definitely.
to conscientize them. We need a sane society. The country is lawless, is reckless, is in a bad shape.
Definitely.
And only people can change. Infrastructure don't change. People change infrastructure.
Things do change.
But that's the irony of the situation when people try to build. But if you don't change people, your buildings will just be ceremonials. They'll just be structure.
Of course.
And unfortunately, many a times in African setting, we want to build on infrastructure, but we don't build the minds of the people. We don't change the attitude and how they perceive what is given to them and how they can appreciate their own country. I'm afraid, Moses, just before we go, Liberia is being overrun by foreigners.
Oh yeah.
And if we don't build our society, our population to fight back and sustain our country and move it forward as Liberians, patriots, we'll lose that country. You and I will be gone. Because the Bible says it. A man is only promised 3 scores and 10.
Oh yeah, 3 scores and 10. Yeah, 7, 8. Yeah.
If you go more than that, then thank God.
It's a blessing. Yeah. It's a blessing. It's a blessing every hour, every second, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
People. Yeah, my sister Umo. It was a pleasure. Dr. Sumo, everybody. Because I won't run into trouble here with the many viewers out there. I want to say everybody, it was a pleasure being here with you. Volcano, I may enjoy your weekend.
My man, we're pushing the cartoon. The River says pro.
River says so push you, so gotta go push, my man.
All right. Let me let these people go. Thomas Awaji, thank you. Yes, thanks for the acknowledgement. Another excellent show. Emmanuel Jackson, Idea Omo, thank you so much for always making time all the way out there in Australia. It's a pleasure having you. Raymond Clark, Manis Sumo. We didn't see a lot of people waiting here tonight, but nevertheless, I always say that where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I will be there. And it doesn't matter with the optics of big numbers on the screen showing 10,000 views and all of that. This will remain. These conversations will be pulled back when I'm dead and gone. People will come back and listen. People will come back and say there was a Volcano Shelton, there was a Moses Sandy, there was an Alphonso Yenu. Your contribution, the Thomas Awaji, and all of you who weigh in and type in your important thoughts will be remembered when you are long gone. So that's what matters to me. I'm not about all these numbers. I'm about substance, content, and the character that we put into the work we do here Tuesdays and Fridays. We'll be back here on Tuesday. As I said, the conversation will be what is considered a new Liberia, because every president and every new government come and they say a new Liberia, and by 100 day The corruption is crazy. So we'll be back here. Thank you, folks. Volcano Shelter on behalf of Moses and Alphonso. Good night.